What's up, guys? We are back. It's your boys, Hogan and Mike, here on another From Drinking Buds to Thinking Buds. See, I had to slow it down this time, and I got it. Nailed it. Took me 6 tries, but I'm starting to finally get the I still call it drink think all the time. That's just like the abbreviated version, so I obviously have to go with that. But
it sounded out.
I'm a little slow sometimes, and it's just I gotta get there. That's all. It's no biggie. But if you guys are wondering why I'm so peppy right as we were hitting the record button, is because Mike and I were having a nostalgic flashback to we talked about cartoons. What was that? A couple episodes ago, and yeah, and it was just like I was just laughing about Maverick, my dog, being an idiot, calling him a stupid dog, and all I could think of was Eustace from Courage the Cowardly Dog. Stupid dog, you made me look bad. Ooga booga booga. And it's just it's a classic. If you haven't seen Courage the Cowardly Dog, do better with your life. That's all I have to say. Mike, how do you watch that a bunch, right? Courage the Cowardly Dog.
Yeah, I haven't watched it in a long time ago, but I did forget about the ooga booga booga thing and then like whipping the mask out. So yeah, that was a little bit of a blast from the past. I was like, yeah, ooga booga booga.
That show was just on a whole nother level of funny, weird. It was like a mix between like a comedy and like a horror, and it was just like a weird. I don't know. It worked. I at one point I think Netflix had it, and I think I watched the first like season, and I was just like, this is amazing. But that was also like 10 years ago, before Netflix costs an arm and a leg at this point for everything. But let's I was gonna say, we're talking a little nostalgia again, and one thing that I did want to bring up in this particular episode, since we're old men going on almost like 40 at this point, which is crazy to think how old we are getting, is video games, which if you listen to society, we shouldn't be playing anymore. And as I'm sitting here with my giant PS5 behind me, my Switch over here, and then just plethora of football crap for those of you watching on YouTube. But yeah, man, like we still game. I mean, I do all the time. What about you?
I'm trying to get back into it more. I know that recently, I think I'm trying to like get back into that part of my life as like a kid. Like I think that I constantly was like told not to play video games and not do certain things and just focus on sports and being an athlete, that now I'm like, oh no, like I don't want to go out and drink. I don't want to go out and party. I don't want to do those things. So yeah, like let me try to get back into like some nostalgia video games, which apparently I guess is blasphemy that you just told me that my one friend just let me borrow his ocarina at a time, and was it Majora's Mask?
Yeah, that's the second one.
Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, no, I never played it. And you were like, what? You never played that? Didn't you play a lot of N64? I'm like, yeah, N64 is my favorite system, but I never had Zelda. So, I mean, it's not like, I don't know. I just never had it, so I never got to play it.
It is blasphemy. I'm calling you out. Like, that's being like, I had Sega Genesis and I didn't play Sonic. That makes no damn sense.
I think Mario was a bigger draw than Zelda was. I feel like Mario was probably more mainstream, and I feel like Zelda was probably a little bit more like...
It's like 50-50. I feel like if you know Nintendo, you know Mario, and you know Zelda.
I don't know. All I know is that they're making, like the second Mario movie. I haven't heard of any Zelda movies, so...
They actually are making a Zelda movie.
Are they?
A live-action one. Which...
And is Link going to say anything, or is he just going to just grunt? What?
I don't know, whatever noise he makes when he gets hit. That's like all I can think of whenever it's like those, like in like the newest one, that I'm pretty sure he's just like, ah! Like that's all he does is just like random, like, yeah. I swear to God, look at it on Switch. I have the was it?
No, I got it, but yeah,
he's just like,
yeah, I guess he doesn't have a catchphrase, does he?
I mean, just shutting the fuck up. I guess if that's a catchphrase, that's all he does. He doesn't talk. Except for that weird, I don't know.
I don't know, Zerat, something like that. But yeah, I guess we were just gonna try to give like more of a vibe of like what our past was with video games and whatnot. So like I know that I think you've been more consistent than I have. I basically took like a 15-year leap from like Xbox 360. I think was the last system that I bought up until the Switch like a year ago. And then I was like, oh, yeah, like these are kind of fun to play. But yeah, I had a big gap in there of not playing like any games.
It's all right. I made up for your gap. I never stopped from the Genesis days up until recently with everything. Actually, if you now that I'm thinking about it, one of like my core video game memories involves you, particularly from the 360 era. And I actually wrote about it. Remember when I was doing like I had like a blog at one point that I was working on, and I brought up like when
The bear.
the bear. See, you know immediately what I'm talking. Immediately know what I'm talking about because that goddamn bear. When we tried to play Oblivion, when it was the first time that you and it was you and Ansel's room, and it was just like we were playing. You guys were playing Oblivion. I walked in, you're like, here, play, and you just threw the controller at me, and then this bear just came out of nowhere and fucked my shit up, and it was awful. I had the worst time.
Yeah.
And
then
you
couldn't beat the bear.
No, because I didn't know. Well, first off, I didn't know the controls. I'd never played Oblivion before, and it was just like it was a hot mess. Yeah, fuck that bear, man. I actually, what's even funnier is fast forward, like I think it was, I don't know, probably like 10 years later when Assassin's Creed Odyssey came out. There was like a bunch of like animal hunts in that game, and I was at another buddy's house and he was playing it, and he was like level like 50 something ridiculous. Like he'd been playing the game for like 200 hours, whatever it is, and he was hunting a legendary like grizzly bear. And he like threw the controller at me, and like in the middle of the fight, and was like, "Here, beat this thing." And
PTSD.
I got fucked up again by another goddamn bear. And it's like, dude, I can't handle bears in video games. Apparently, that is just like oil and water with me. I don't know what it is.
That's funny. That's funny that you just like, oh no, not again.
And pretty much, it was like I was like, I'm having flashbacks to college in Mike's room, being like, okay, but like the graphics were much better, and it was obviously more like action oriented, and it was Assassin's Creed and all that. But it was just like, what is it with me and bears? I don't know. But
what was the first system that you remember really like having?
Sega Genesis. Well, it was Sega Genesis or the OG Game Boy, like the brick, like the actual like fat white one. Was it white, gray? I don't know, whatever it was. Yeah, my dad bought that. I remember my dad bought me the Game Boy, and the first game I ever played on that was Kirby's Dream Land, which was wild to think back on that game. And then my aunt and uncle bought me the Sega Genesis, actually I got the box for it like in my room, my man cave down here, with the actual system still in it and everything, like from like 1994 or whenever it was that I first got it. And it came with Sonic and Knuckles, and that's how my Sonic fandom came about, where I love Sonic the Hedgehog. Favorite gaming franchise right there.
So how you were saying like how I guess like Zelda and Mario split Nintendo. Was there anything that split Sega? Not really, right? It was just pretty much completely dominated by Sonic.
It was Sonic was the answer to Mario for Nintendo. Like if we're being realistic, Mario is obviously like everybody always kind of says like if there's a Mount Rushmore for video games, like for like famous characters that like pretty much set video games in motion, like Mario's on there, Pac-Man's on there, Sonic's on there, and then the fourth one's always kind of like could be like Master Chief, it could be Lara Croft. Like there's a bunch of debates about who the fourth one could be, but like that's the three main ones are usually like Mario, Sonic, Pac-Man, and the ones that set video games on that path to like dominate the industry, like or like be a part of entertainment industry going forward.
It's funny. I completely forgot about Pac-Man because when we were talking about gaming, I was just like at home consoles. But then I'm like, I kind of forgot that. I guess we kind of hit like the tail end of like arcades.
Right. Yeah, arcades were still a thing when we were kids, because I remember I used to go to them a bunch until Sega and Nintendo really made it the home console. That was the big thing, was them making the home console.
Well, they had home consoles before. It's actually crazy because my dad had one. I think it's called like Odyssey 100.
Yeah,
I remember playing that as a kid and being like, my dad was like, this came out before Atari. And I was like, I've never heard of this before. There was no controllers. It just had two sets of knobs on the console. Like, so like left and right player. And then it was just like Pong. Like, it had like two games, and it was just two like little bricks that went up and down and balls. And then there was another one, but yeah, that was like essentially it.
Yeah, well, yeah, you hit it like again. Like, essentially, Atari was the first real like big console, and then it became Nintendo NES, and then it became like Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, the Sega like Mega Hard Drive, whatever they called it, and then it kind of exploded from there. But there were obviously a ton of other like little um things that just tried to come out. I mean, you still see it today with like the retro like like they essentially put out like Game Boys. Like I think you even asked about it one time, was like Amazon was selling like this thing that looked like a Game Boy, but it's like, oh, it has like 5,000 games and ROMs and emulators built
Yeah.
in, and yeah. So the real, like I said, the market was still so brand new at that time where you only had that small amount. But again, if you wanted to go to arcades, those were only designated with those giant like cabinets were just the one games. And then obviously technology got to where it was, where you could bring the console home and then have a bunch of other games. Although apparently you didn't get that message to, get Zelda with N64. So yeah, you fucked up.
Yeah, I know. As a little kid, what's crazy though is that I remember I was pissed at my older cousin because my parents asked my cousin. They were like, "Oh, we know that you have an N64." I think he's like 3 or 4 years older than me, and they were like, "Oh, we asked your cousin about whether or not he thinks that we should get you this, and he said it's too advanced for you, so we don't think that you could get it." And I remember at Christmas, I feel like I threw him against the wall. I was like, "What the fuck, dude? Like, how are you just gonna say that?" He's like, "What? It's really complicated." I'm like, "I want N64. Don't tell my parents not to get it for me because I'm too little." Like, Jesus Christ.
Mikey's a big dum dum. Just give him coloring pencils and a crayon book, and he'll be all set.
Yeah, I was pissed. I used to watch him play Mario 64 all the time, and I'm like, man, I can't wait to get this system. And then all of a sudden, my parents were like, "He told us not to get it for you," and I was like, "Son of a bitch."
That's too funny. No, I actually, it's funny because when I went from Sega Genesis, the next game system that I had after that was obviously the Sega Dreamcast, where it was funny. My aunt and uncle were amazing, and they were the ones, because I think they just knew that Sega was like the streamline for stuff, because they tried so many new things where Nintendo was still dominant with what they did, but like Sega was like willing to go out and try new things. So that's why I said they like got the Dreamcast for me, and the Dreamcast was such a game changer. If you think back when that first came out, the capabilities that it had, it was like the CD-ROM that, or yeah, played the CDs instead of the cartridges like N64 did. The Dreamcast could actually connect to the internet back then. That was like 1997
Well,
or
I'm just getting
98.
hardwired.
Oh yeah, you had to like buy like an adapter, and it was like hardwire plug-in. There was like maybe like 3 games that could actually connect to the internet, but you could have the web browser on there. It was like super archaic if you try and go back and look at what it actually was. But no,
Weren't the controllers like huge? I feel like I remember the controllers kind of being beefy.
so they were awkward. They were like they were like not squares, but the regular controllers were actually kind of small. I would call it's called like an Astropad. It's massive. It was like double the size of like an Xbox 360 controller. And I rocked that thing. I love that. They actually had the memory cards that you could put in the controllers, and they had the little screens on them. It was actually really cool. I'd have to find.
Yeah, so I was just say I thought I remember there being a cartridge thing that you could like slide in the middle. I never had it. I knew one kid that had one, and we played it a couple of times. We were not big fans, but yeah, that was a rare find.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you never really. That's pretty wild that you never had Nintendo or Super Nintendo, and you just kind of went like right to Sega.
I just, like I said, it was kind of like more so like I had the Game Boy, and obviously I rocked that with the Game Boy Color after, and I think I got the Game Boy. So for handheld, I was always Nintendo, because again, they were really the only ones, because Sega did do the Game Gear, and that failed so bad. But the Game Boy, I had all the time with that, and I used that thing all the time playing Pokemon growing up and everything else. But yeah,
I just tried to replay the Game Boy, and it's terrible.
No,
I just got it from my parents' house. It's literally right here on the counter, and I was like, I cleaned out the terminal, like I got it working, and then I was just like trying to like get into light. I was like, I can't see shit. Like,
I was gonna say, do you remember actually when you had the Game Boy in your parents' car, if you're driving at night and you were trying to wait for like streetlights to go by so you could actually see what the hell you were doing? That is another core memory of mine, where it's like, and then they sold like it was called like the Game Boy Light, where it was this little like hardwire you could plug into the Game Boy, just drain the shit out of the batteries. Even worse, where you could actually do that. The inventions that they try to come up with for some of this crap that we look back now and we're like, what the hell did we spend money on? Is wild to me.
I mean, they were trying. I saw a video where someone like souped it up and they like put everything on it.
Yeah,
And you forget all the additions that like they had for it, and it's like it was like this big by the end. Like I forget, like you were able to like print pictures off of there and
yeah,
shit. Like there was some cool stuff. They definitely
right.
had some cool shit. I still don't even understand how the technology worked back then. Like obviously you didn't have like Duck Hunt. I don't know how that worked.
I don't.
I have no idea how you were able to aim a gun at a TV from like these like boob tube televisions that you could barely get cable on, but somehow this controller worked through here to shoot a laser. I don't know how. No idea. They used to have like a foot mat. Like I remember we had an Olympics game for like Nintendo, and it was like a big square.
The Wii, for the Wii.
No, this was like for like the original Nintendo. Like the
Really?
open it up this way and blow into the cart, like and
Yeah,
slide
yeah,
it
yeah.
in. Yeah. And it was a mat. I think I actually still have the mat, and like it had like almost like a Dance Dance Revolution things, and you'd be able to play
Really?
like an Olympic game. So like you'd be running as fast as you could, like and you, like your character. Yeah, I don't know how they got that to work in like the 80s. I have no clue how they were able to do some of their stuff.
If you look at the, I mean, the one thing that I will say about gaming that impresses the hell out of me that I don't think any other industry really comes close to is the advances that video games have had from like you think like you brought up earlier Pong, Pitfall, like some of the OGs, Pac-Man, to like where we saw gaming in like the early 90s when I really got sunk my teeth into it, like I said, with Genesis, Super Nintendo and all that. The jump from just being only able to play like 2D games to go to all of a sudden 3D, where like I said, like that's one thing that I don't remember exactly where I was or anything like that, but I remember the feeling of like seeing Mario 64 for the first time and being like, holy shit, like this is mind blowing, from seeing a guy just run across the screen sideways, left or right, up or down, that was it, to now he can like wall jump, he can long jump, he can do like you talk about Olympics, like Mario is a freaking Olympic athlete in that game, like some of the shit that he could do, but like that was just so mind blowing to me. And I think one thing that I have to constantly remind myself is like that expectation of like things like making that rapid jump from like that to that technology, you don't see that anymore. Like, yeah, graphics get a lot better and you see games now that look like realistic, or sometimes like I catch myself looking at a sports game and I'm like, holy shit, like who are the Celtics playing right now? And it's like, no, dude, that's like NBA 2K. And you're like, wait, what? But then you stop and you realize, oh, okay, yeah, like you look at the fans and it's like three of the same person over and over again. You're like, oh, there it is. There's the video game part of it. But I don't know. I mean, that did you have that kind of aha moment for you? Was like going from like Nintendo or like Super Nintendo to like when you went to 64 N64, where you saw that jump like the way that I did?
Yeah, I mean, N64, I remember. I don't know if you have a big family or not. I got a lot of cousins, so I remember just like sitting in like in my cousin's basement watching him play Mario 64, and I was like, "This is incredible."
Yeah,
Like I couldn't even like fathom how this game worked, and like the controller was completely different too, so that like threw it off. You were just like, "What the fuck is going on?" And that's why I still hate him to this day, because he made me wait for like an extra year and a half or something like that in order to get one because I wasn't old enough. But I feel like I don't even really like the way that games are now. Like I enjoy playing games with you, but
right.
it seems like some of them are like, I don't know. The older ones seem to be better, and even now that I'm jumping back into games and possibly getting a laptop, like I think I want to go through the 15 years that I missed and go through all the games that were apparently like very good that
Mm.
I never really got a chance to play. Like I just went back. I'm still playing Skyrim. I want to do Red Dead Redemption. I would really like to get into all the Final Fantasies that I never really got to play.
Yeah.
Then stuff like I was interested in, like I remember a couple of my buddies used to get big into like Kingdom Hearts and stuff. So like there's like a bunch. There's so many games that like I never really got a real chance to play that I actually like am excited for that I don't know. I got really turned off when like you can't play. Don't you need like different systems now in order, like if I came to play something with you in order to play multiplayer, don't I need my own system and like a separate TV in order to play it? Like it just seems weird the way that they made things not compatible to want someone in the same room playing with you anymore. I'm not a huge fan of.
So that I can speak to pretty easily because because as a video game fan, but also as a consumer, and also being in an industry where you can see why companies or industries do some of the shady things that they do. It's about selling. That's the biggest thing, is they went
Yeah.
from, I mean, you think about N64, where there's like what we talked about earlier, where Dreamcast was able to go online, N64 never could go online. You had those other consoles that couldn't go online. So it became like the couch co-op became almost non-existent. Or you remember the LAN parties, like old school PCs, people would like bring their Xboxes over, do a giant LAN party, play Halo all night with their buddies and all that kind of stuff, bring little TVs and like all that. That disappeared with the way that the internet kind of moved around and the way that the new consoles set it up. So, you could sit on your couch and play with your buddy at his home, where one of you didn't have to travel to the other one. And of course, companies saw that as, hey, now we can sell 2 consoles, 2 games, 2 everything. And now they're making double the money they were, whereas opposed to before, I own the console, I own the game. All I had to do was get an extra controller for you, and then you come over, and now we're both playing it. So
Yeah,
I
miss that.
And don't get me wrong, I'm not defending it, because I certainly miss like the couch co-op is what a lot of people call it and stuff. But at the same time, I get why it also kind of went the way of the dodo. You know what I mean? It was kind of like a Blockbuster versus Netflix kind of thing.
Yeah, gotcha. It's funny though that you were talking about the couch thing, because my dad coined a phrase that me and my buddies, because not a lot of my friends played video games. They used to play like Madden and stuff, but they never played anything other. And then I think one of the first Call of Duties,
Yeah,
I got them to come over, and every weekend we would be like drinking 40 ounces and playing Call of Duty. And there was always 3 of us that would play consistently, and then a new person would come, and all of a sudden the new guy would come. My dad would go, "Oh, it's Dick of the Week," and we're like, "What?" And he's like, "This is the dick that you bring over. You guys just kill the shit out of him for like 3 hours, and then he doesn't come back, and then someone else comes in, and you just beat the shit out of that guy." So for the longest time, we called it Dick of the Week. We're like, "Yo, you guys want to play Dick of the Week?" And then invite one random person over, and they would just get crushed. We didn't even think, we just called it snipers. We just really learned how to use sniper rifles. So just like as soon as they respawn, dead, respawn, dead. And then a couple of guys would be like, "Can I come over and be Dick of the Week this week?" And it was like, "Yeah."
Well, let me guess. I was gonna say, if you want to offset a little bit, just make them play as Odd Job from GoldenEye, and then they could duck underneath all the gunfire. Then they wouldn't be Dick of the Week. You play GoldenEye, right? You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I'm trying to. I don't remember him being. What is he? Just like really short?
Odd Job, yeah, he was the short one that threw his hat from the movie or whatever. He was always smaller, so like you had to like you couldn't do like the when they aim for, like, you remember the N64, it's like impossible to control the aiming.
The aiming is terrible.
Oh, it's so bad. It's funny because so many people. That's one game that I do want to like touch on, because during my little streaming adventure that I did for a while, I went back and I played GoldenEye. I mean, I used the Pro controller on the Switch, and it is the least friendly like first person shooter controls I have ever goddamn played in my life. That is brutal. I don't know how people were like, "This is amazing. This is incredible." I hate it. It was so painful. It was so difficult.
Well, the multiplayer was why I played it.
That was the biggest, and that's what I'm talking about. The goddamn proximity mines and everything else. And then, yeah, I remember Odd Job was just like the short one. So it was like, oh, you're never going to hit him. Whoever was an Odd Job, you were just an asshole. I remember that.
Now that we're talking about this, I think the reason why I did like a lot of these games was just the co-op couch play. I think that there was a lot of games that I don't even think I really played a lot of like single player games. One, they were difficult, so I would like get frustrated and stop playing them.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think a lot of the games that I did enjoy playing, I always was able to play with like 4 people co-op, and that's when it became like, I guess, really fun for me, was competing against other people in a game, as opposed to just kind of like slowly doing a story on my own, especially when they're like, I don't know if you've gone back and tried to play some of these games, especially like the old like Nintendo games, like the old Mario. It's like impossible. I don't know how the hell I used to like almost beat it as like a kid. It's
Uh,
crazy.
between like the graphics, some of the level design, like even so, dude, it's funny that you're talking about this because, like I said, when I was going back and I was looking at some of the like my past work for like when I did streaming, when I did YouTube stuff, and it was like I did a couple of like playthroughs of the OG like Sonic games, and it was just like watching me like play through it where I was like getting so agitated because some of like the level design was just like absolute dog shit. It was just like, oh, let's put like an enemy here and then put spikes here and then a bottomless pit here and then an enemy here and make sure he has no rings and just make sure he dies like 3 times over. And it was like one part where I watched myself die like 6 times in a row. And I was like, why am I playing this? This is so agitating right now. And of course, that's one of like my favorite franchises of all time. But no, absolutely. That's the big thing is the appeal has to be there for you to want to play it. But then on top of that too, it still needs to be good. And I think that's one thing that nostalgia is a son of a bitch sometimes as I look at it, because you look at it with like those glasses where you're like, oh, I had such good memories playing this and it's a masterpiece and it's so good. And then you go back and you actually try and play it compared to like something that's like newer or like what you're adjusted to now. And it's like, what the hell is this steaming pile of dog shit? Like I said, like GoldenEye, like I said, we had like great memories of like, yeah, multiplayer and like doing the different things there. And then you actually try and play the game with like modern controls and you're just like, how the hell did I even like do this back in the day?
Well, it's because you didn't have a choice. There was no choice. Like, especially like when I went back and tried to play some of these games, I'm like, fuck this game. I want to play something else. I'm like, oh, that's the reason why I had to play as a kid. There was no internet. There was no nothing else. This was the game. And I had to beat the game.
Right.
So it's like, and another one's not coming out for a long time. So you just didn't really have like options. It was like, all right, I could do this or be bored. So I guess I'll just continue to deal with this. And yeah, it's pretty wild. I've watched some guys like do like fast runs of like some of these like impossible games.
Oh yeah.
Was it one I played for Sega was terrible. It was like Echo the Dolphin. I wanted to kill myself.
Yep. Yeah, I had that for Dreamcast. I never had that for Genesis, but yeah, that thing was a pain in the ass. But no, it's you're not wrong, because I mean that's a whole nother like rabbit hole we could go down when it comes to the saturation of the market when it comes to video games, where you hit the nail on the head, where we were so new to the home consoles, where like again, it was only you think about back in the 90s, it was literally Sega and Nintendo. And then you fast forward to the 2000s, Sega's not even in the console market anymore. Nintendo's still kicking and doing its thing. But now you got Sony, now you got Xbox, you got Microsoft, you got PC gaming took on a whole new like life, like going into that era, because you think about like the first person shooters with like Doom and Quake and Wolfenstein and all that. But then it upgrades, like you even brought up like Call of Duty and like other stuff that like started like taking over the scene going to the 2000s. And now it's just like, again, it's an oversaturation with not only consoles but games themselves too, where you see so many games being made not only by giant corporations and companies, but also like, you got a lot of indie guys that like people are just creating games on their own. So you can go on like Steam right now, which is like the database world center of pretty much PC gaming. And I'm pretty sure they have like 50,000 plus video games that you can buy on that storefront. Like you could just type a word, any random word in there, and it's probably going to find you like 20 video games, whether they're Resident Evil, or you just type in like evil and it's going to be like Resident Evil, Evil Within, and it's going to find every game that you could think of on that store that's going to be with the word evil. And it's just insane to think about. It's just, that's the nature of the beast now.
Yeah. I think the biggest shift, I don't know if you agree or not, was probably when we were in college and when Call of Duty started to become like the thing. And then I feel like every single game was just like, oh, they got a new Call of Duty, and then it was prestiging and like it was like the same gameplay. And I think that's where I was like, all right, I'm out. And then I just focused on other things because I just completely kind of like lost interest, because it seemed like every single thing was like the multiplayer, just get into a lobby and just kill the shit out of each other. And then obviously there was like Warzone and like zombies and shit, but like it started to seem like it was getting away from that, and it just went into a different way of playing games, or at least that was like the bubble it seemed that I was in. Because even in college, we were still hardwired.
Yeah.
So like there was like people that would go into each other's rooms and play games, and then there was other people that would just sit in their room and play with all the other dudes in the building while they're in their room.
College for me, the biggest thing that I remember with college, specifically when you and I met and when we were like gaming and stuff like that, was it's you had a combination, right? So I don't disagree with you in the slightest. Trust me, you're spot on with the whole Call of Duty monetization and the way that they do that crap, where it's just they pump out a game every year to just empty your wallet, empty your wallet. And the biggest thing with Call of Duty, I think, was that for a while it was really good. Like it was like Modern Warfare 1, Call of Duty 4, World at War, and then like the first few Black Ops were amazing. I have wicked fond memories of doing that with Tom and just like, playing that forever. And then it became, perpetual garbage, just pumped out yearly because it was like, oh, now we have an obligation. We got to put it out yearly to get 60, 80 bucks, whatever the price tag is off of everybody. But then on top of that too, the other thing in college was we had the Nintendo Wii, which still kind of gave you that like couch co-op, because remember like Wii Sports, I remember freshman year Wii Sports was like a blast because my like buddies down the hall, Nick and Jack's room, they had Wii Sports, and then they also had Guitar Hero, which we were all rocking out with. You put like the Wii controller and the guitar and we were playing that. So it's like, so I don't disagree with you that like Call of Duty changed a lot of things, but we also still had like the good memories of like the Nintendo Wii bringing us together to do like the fun shit with that. Because Guitar Hero, remember that ran like what? That was freshman year. That's all I remember, like the biggest gaming thing from freshman year.
But yeah, Guitar Hero was big. But I mean, there was also like Tom played it on PlayStation, so like
Right.
PS2. So it was still on PS2, but we, I guess, made it more fun because you get more people, and then like Rock Band started becoming a thing. So that was
Right.
cool with us in college that you could get like 4 people
Yeah.
to play all at once. But yeah, no, Guitar Hero was like cutthroat.
Massive. And that was the big thing. Yeah. It was always trying to beat each other and like get better and who could hit that 5th button. I could never do the damn orange 5th button on the pinky side. I was like, oh shit, I missed it again.
I
Bing
lost
bong,
to Tom
bing
all
bong.
the time, and I think I got 98 or 99% on every song, and I lost every time because he would 100% it, and I never knew how he was able to do that.
Because he had no life, duh. I mean, that's
Yeah,
the biggest thing.
I think people knew him as a Guitar Hero kid for freshman year. I'm not even kidding. I think that's 100% true. I think a lot of people are like, "Oh, the Guitar Hero kid." Like, yeah, no, him.
I'd want to quote South Park right now, but I don't want to get canceled after 6 episodes.
Yeah,
So I will not quote that.
But yeah, no, Guitar Hero was huge. I kind of forgot about that. But yeah, I don't even know if any of these games have good like campaigns anymore. Like the original Halo campaign, like I remember playing that so much, and it was like good. And I think what was the one? I feel like I always remember the final scene. I don't remember which Halo it was, when you're on the Warthog and like you're trying to like drive through. It's the second one, right? Yeah, like there was just like some things that were like so well made, and even the co-op in that. But I think one of the reasons why I hated that too was that some people got so good at it that it wasn't even fun playing it anymore. Halo was another one where it was like if you did not stay on your game and then you're like, oh, I'll jump online, just dead, dead, dead,
Right.
dead, dead. Every time you respawn, dead. And you're like, what? This sucks. Like, this is terrible. I can't see anybody. I have no idea what's going on. And within every 5 seconds, I'm getting headshotted. So yeah, it's sort of like with like Call of Duty. Because even then, like I think I tried to play with certain people and they're like, what's your KD ratio? If it's not good enough, you're not allowed to play with us. And I'm like, come on, man. Like I gotta play somewhere. Like Jesus.
No, you're not wrong. I mean, Halo is a whole interesting beast with that whole situation where the company Bungie Studios that made the game, they made the first 3 plus Halo Reach, I think. And then they sold I forget if they sold the rights to Halo or what the situation was, but it went from Bungie to 343 Industries, and 343 is the ones that have been making Halo since 4. And a lot of gamers will tell you that's when the big shift happened, where it was like, okay, Halo 1 through 3 was just core memories, like amazing times, like the story was unbelievable, co-op was fun, and even playing multiplayer was still good. And then yeah, everything changed after that with 343 taking over. But even still, you're not wrong, where regardless of the company that runs the ship now, a lot of games fall into that and this is an interesting thing because I look at this as the entertainment industry in general now, as opposed to maybe just video games. But I am slowly becoming that grumpy old man that's like, oh, everything sucks now, and everything sounds like shit and looks like shit, and it's all shit. Because a lot of it is and that's kind of the problem because it's such an oversaturation. I go back to that point where people are just putting stuff out there to put it out there, where they're not taking the time to create good stories or good characters or a reason. Like you said, you have a core memory of playing Halo 2 with that epic ending where like you and the elite are on the Warthog trying to the map is collapsing around you and you're just busting ass trying to get to the Pelican so you can survive. And it's such a cool thing. And then you see, every like other first person shooter that comes out now, it's like I see the biggest thing that like blew my mind was they released a Call of Duty, I think it was Black Ops 4, that didn't have single player. It didn't have a campaign.
I wouldn't be surprised if you told me most games now don't have single player anymore.
It's literally just the dollar bills to get you online to buy your microtransactions, your skins, your battle passes, all this. I mean, that's why I fell off of Fortnite. I never got big into Fortnite. I don't play Warzone anymore. I don't do any of that stuff because it's a perpetual, like they want you to empty your wallet. It's not, hey, here's 60, 70 bucks for a game and you can play it and have fun with it and, put hours into it. It's here, you pay for this, but now you got to pay 20 bucks for this DLC and you got to pay 10 bucks for this pass and you got to do 10 bucks for this and $5 for this. And it's just like, what the hell are we doing?
Have you ever watched the show Mythic Quest on Apple?
I have not. I heard it's really,
you
really
should
good.
Watch it. It's pretty funny because like there's like that like integration where Danny Pudi's character is like the guy that monetizes. Yeah. So it's funny like how he constantly keeps trying to like integrate like money into things, and the creatives are like, we're just trying to make a good game for people. It's like, but what if you put a casino inside of the game and we say that it's this coins, but it's real money? And it was just like, but yeah, no, it definitely like tracks. But I guess that's why it was cool though. Maybe that's where like that nostalgia piece comes from when you're a kid, because it felt like it wasn't I guess more like a pure type of like enjoyment. Like, oh, I just like this game because it's exciting and it's fun and it's holding my attention. And then now that you're older, maybe it kind of like loses some of the luster because you're kind of seeing how the sausage gets made. And you're like, like I don't want to see this.
The best way that I can like almost describe it, which I don't know if I hope this will make sense. Think of it as Las Vegas, right? Like, what was the appeal for Las Vegas growing up?
Hookers.
Okay, the other appeal of Las Vegas growing up, besides that one, is gambling.
Yeah,
you wanted to be able to gamble. That was the biggest thing. And where else could you gamble besides Vegas growing up, other than like Atlantic City? Vegas was known to be like, hey, you're gonna go here, you're gonna drink, you're gonna go to the strip club, you're gonna go like down the actual Vegas strip, and you're gonna do like all these things, and it's gonna be fun. You're gonna get drunk and blow a ton of money, and hopefully not meet hookers like you wanted to. But that was the appeal to it, though. And now you go back, 4 or 5 years ago, they legalized sports gambling across the country pretty much, which I know is still state to state, but like you see that, we have it up here in New Hampshire. Do you guys have it in New York yet? I'm sure you do. So yeah, so you got New York, you got Massachusetts, it's all over the place. And then on top of that too, now we have 3 or 4 casinos in my city alone. Like I didn't have anything of that growing up. So now where's the appeal to go to Vegas? The nostalgia is still there, where it's like, hey, it'd be cool to go to Vegas and go down the strip and maybe catch a show and see the lights and the water show and all that stuff. But at the same time, it's like, if the main reason you were going to Vegas was to gamble and the experience, and you can have that experience right in your hometown now, why do you need to go? And the reason I'm using, like I said, this is kind of my analogy for it, where it's just, you look at, like I said, with video games in general, is you had that appeal where it was only the Nintendo, it was only the Genesis, it was only this, and you could only do those things back then, like you were kind of talking about. And now you have a million consoles that can play a million different games that are just everywhere, that is just, it's overloaded. So why do you need to go back and only have that one experience here? if that makes sense.
Yeah, that explanation I was trying. You kind of zigzagged a little bit there.
Yeah, I don't know.
I was wondering where you were trying to land it, but
It's just the saturation is just my point, is where you had, like I said, with where Vegas was the only thing that could gamble, you had a Nintendo was the only thing you could play video games on. Now it's like you said, I could have a PlayStation that could play Call of Duty. I could have an Xbox that plays Call of Duty. I have a PC that plays Call of Duty. I don't know if Nintendo can at this point, but like again, it's all over the place where you don't have really a lot of that special like honed in focus on one system. Like yeah, Nintendo still has Mario, they still have Zelda, but I can download an emulator on my PC and start playing Mario like right now if I wanted to, because we have that capability to do so, where it's not going to have that special feel where if I go somewhere and I buy a Super Nintendo and I plug it into my TV and I'm playing Mario, it's like, oh wow, this is incredible. It's like, yeah, it is, but I could also just do the same thing on my PC for free in 10 seconds.
I don't know. I agree to disagree, especially
Yeah.
since like I've been trying to like get back into some of this like retro stuff, like fixing up my N64, which I fixed my buddies because he let me borrow Zelda. He's like, "Can you take a look at this and see if it works?" I'm not like a whiz or anything like that. I just cleaned everything out and ended up like fucking with it. Wasn't working. I ended up like messing with the expansion pack.
Mhm.
Like, and I cleaned that out, and then all of a sudden started working mint. So I was like, all right, that's an interesting trick that I didn't know about, that I didn't realize that could affect the gameplay that much, considering nobody really touched it once the expansion pack kind of went back in. But yeah, like replaying some of these games and getting a hold of like an N64 controller does definitely bring something back to me. And there's definitely something there that I enjoy more, I guess, like going back to Vegas in that point. And I having this conversation, I'm realizing now the reason why I am playing games is because originally it was like me, you, and Tom started playing kart again,
Yeah.
and then played like uh, Mario Party. Like I think I'm getting back into the couch co-op game mood just to kind of like be able to chill and like hang with my friends for a little bit.
Yeah.
So I think that's actually the main reason why I'm doing it. And I think I am enjoying some single players, but it's definitely more fun to kind of like, even with buying this laptop and trying to get into Steam, like it was to play Baldur's Gate with you.
Yeah.
So I guess that's kind of where I'm at.
One funny thing that you brought up a little bit earlier was like the whole like multiplayer aspect, where it's like you don't want to play the single player as much, where you like the multiplayer with all that, where ironically enough, like I find myself mostly playing single player now. The only multiplayer I play is literally with you or Tom. That's it. It's not, I used to be a Call of Duty savant where it was like, oh, let me grind on this for like 3 hours today and hit my prestige and blah, 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 and put 200 hours into this game. And it's just, I've fallen so far from that, where I used to be, you know, the COD master. I used to be on Madden every year. I used to be on like the sweaty, or whatever the hell the term is for, like, oh, gotta get sweaty and grind this shit out. And it's like, I used to be that guy. I was all about it. That was my big thing with gaming, was like, oh, definitely I want to be the number one call. At like one point, I think it was like Madden 09 where I played that online at one point. I bought it that like the midnight release, and I played online as soon as I got home, and I won like my first like 4 or 5 matches. And I was like, you're ranked like number 19 in the world. And I was like, oh my God. And then like, of course, like people like their stats updated, and then it was like, yeah, no, you're like 5 billionth in the world or whatever. But no, I fell off that so hard because I realized how much money and time I was wasting for a shit product, because Madden just stopped being fun because there was no, like, as much as I love football, like, don't get me wrong, video games and football, it should be a home run for me. Like, I love that shit. But Madden became such a piece of crap product because EA didn't have anybody to compete with. So they were like, oh, here, let's just update the roster and send out a piece of shit game every year for $60 and make these guys buy it. So I haven't bought that in like eight. I think the last Madden I bought had Brady on the cover. Brady for when he was with the Patriots.
Yeah.
So that tells you how long ago that was. And then Call of Duty, yeah, I didn't buy that for probably close to like 7 or 8 years. And then I randomly tried to buy the last one last year. I played it like for 3 rounds online just to see, hey, is this still fun? And it's like getting, like you said, getting headshotted every time I spawned, and I'm like, okay, this sucks. I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah, I played Warzone, I think, but when I was like by you, and then Tom was like, okay, and he had to tell me everything to do because I didn't know what was going on.
Right.
It's like just basically just hide and then stay in the zones and hopefully we'll make it to the end. And I was like, this is exhilarating. Like,
Right.
what the fuck? Like, I have no idea what's going on. Like,
It,
he's like, oh no, you got to do better. I'm like, dude, I don't play this game. I have no idea what's going on. And then we actually like downloaded like with Twisted Metal and shit, and we were trying to play that, and we were like, this game is impossible to get through on one life. How the
Right.
hell did people used to do that? And it was one life, right? Like it wasn't like
Yeah.
we died once, and all of a sudden we're like, we restarted, and then we had to find the cheat for like unlimited lives because we are like, this is impossible.
Yeah, you and I, we did the co-op. We tried to play through it through co-op, and it was like we shared lives, and it gave us like 3 lives. So like one of us would die, and it'd be like, "Fuck, we got 2 left, and we got like 20 levels to go." And it's like, how does, like you said, how the hell does that even make sense? But no, it's wild to me, the vast differences from, like I said, where we came from and where we are now, and how the paradigm has shifted so much. And again, like my taste in like how I played games has changed so dramatically, because I went from just single player games, because that's pretty much what it was from the get-go, until like the co-op, couch co-op stuff kind of came along, and then the internet craze came along, and how that shifted everything, where I was like, oh, forget single player games. I mean, I still played them, but it was mostly like, oh, let me go online, we're gonna jump on Call of Duty, you gotta jump on Madden, gotta do this. And now it's like, I haven't played an online match on, I don't even know if I played an online match on my PS5 since that last time you tried to play Warzone, which how long ago was that? Like 2 years ago at this point?
I don't know. It might have been a year ago, but yeah, it was a while ago. I think you had to like re-download everything because you had nothing there. You're like, I have to update a whole bunch of shit if I like this.
That's it. That's another part of it too. Or is you got to update everything. Where it's just like before, you used to plug and play, and it was you're in the game in 10 seconds. Well, I mean, maybe not 10 seconds, but
yeah, I remember that turned me off big too. Was when I lived with one of my buddies, and he just got an Xbox One, and then he was like, I'm going to get the new Call of Duty. And then we would jump on to play, and then every time we did it, it was like half-hour update. And I was like, "You own?" Like the concept didn't make sense in my brain. I was like, "We bought the game, we uploaded the disc. Why is it every single time we want to play this, we have to wait? And there's another update and another update." I was like, "I'm out." I was like, "I'm done. I don't want to do this. I don't care." Like I thought we were gonna get back into this, but I'm done. Like this is enough for me. And it took up the whole system. Like the one game took up all the memory on the whole system. I was like, this is insane.
That was the biggest shift during the PS3, Xbox 360 era, where I distinctively remember the first game that did that to me when I was playing PS3, because I was like you said, you put the disc in, you start playing. That's how it worked. And then I think I remember the first game it happened on was Ninja Gaiden Sigma or something like that, where I put the disc in, went to go play it, and it was like waiting for update or waiting for download. And I'm like, what the hell is this? And then I look, and that's where it had that little like, oh, here's the bubble and here's the bar. And it's like currently downloading the game. And like you said, it was like, oh, like 40 gigs. So I had to sit there and twiddle my thumbs for like an hour and a half because it was shit internet back then or whatever it was. And I was like, what is this? And then it dawned on me. I was like, it's downloading the game onto the console. And at first I got really excited because I was like, oh shit, so I don't even need the disc anymore. Well, no, I still had to put the fucking disc in order to play the game. So I'm like, what the hell's the point of that? But yeah, that's and that brings up a whole another, like, again, we could talk video games for 20 hours at this point, but
then you can't even borrow them, right? Like if I was like, hey, I want to borrow that Call of Duty, it's still only going to work on your system. I can't.
No. They changed that. They wanted to try and pull that was another thing during like the 2010s that they tried to pull with like Madden and some other games where they're like, oh, here's your specific code, so you're the only one that can play this disc. Otherwise, it's a useless disc. They dropped that real quick because there was a huge backlash to that. But no, the big thing is the updates and the downloading of shit now, where that's why you see a lot of trash games, in my opinion, get released, because it's like, oh, these guys have deadlines, they have promises, they are customers to keep up, and it's like, oh, we announced this game like 2 years ago hurry up, and even though it looks like shit and runs like shit, just get it out to the public as soon as you possibly can. We got to fill our wallet so we can all, make millions and millions of dollars. And then it's like, all right, send that shit out there, and if enough people bitch about it, like put out an update in like a week or something, just shut them up. And then if they got more bitching or whatever, put out another update and we'll figure it out. And that's actually how they do games now. It's like they throw out a half-baked product, and then they like wait for the backlash or wait to hear people be like, oh dude, that sucks, like this is awful, like what are we doing? And then they're like, oh, they continue to work on it in the background and release patches and updates to fix it over time. Because like the latest one, I think it was, what was it, like Starfield? That's like the latest game from Bethesda, the ones who do Oblivion and Skyrim.
Yeah.
They put out Starfield, and people were like, dude, this sucks, it's miserable. And they had to like try and fix it with a bunch of patches, and they just released like the newest like DLC or patch or something that they're like, no, it's even more playable than ever. And they just put it on PS5 to make more money off of Sony players. And Sony people are like, dude, this game doesn't even work. Like they had like a shit ton of people being like, I can't even, like, it corrupts my system. I like, can't even play this. And they demanded like a shit ton of refunds for it. And that game's been out for like 2 years on like PC and Xbox, and they still can't get it right for a PS5 because, again, it's a cash grab. That's all they care about.
Yeah, so I'm going retro, dog. I just have everything in actual physical media, and I own this stuff. And when my internet goes out, I could actually play it.
I'm the exact same way. I'm trying to go physical media with between games, movies, shows, everything, because I'm trying to cut that cord when it comes to subscriptions and all that crap. The only thing I got left to convince Ashley of is we got to get rid of Netflix. Now that Stranger Things is over, I want to get rid of it, and she won't let me. But I'm going to start making her pay for it.
So you would say that Sonic? Do you think Sonic's the game that you're best at, or no?
Ooh, that's a good question. The game that I'm the best at?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd probably put Sonic up there. I mean, I wouldn't, like, don't get me wrong, I'm not like a speed runner or could get the highest score or anything. Like, I played 99% of his games, and I love playing through most of them. I mean, there are some shit games, and I won't go back and play them or anything like that. But yeah, I mean, if you throw a Sonic game at me, I'm probably going to be able to either beat it or have a good time with it. That's the way I look at it. What about you?
Right, that's fair. Mario Kart 64 is the game that I'm the best at, or at least I used to be. I have to start playing it again. But when we were in college, I definitely was lights out in that game. I think one of our buddies had like a spreadsheet. There was one kid in the dorm that was better than me. He's the best I've ever seen in my life. But other than that, I usually never lost. And then if you want to say a game that I've never lost would be Drink and Drive Mario Kart. I don't think I ever really lost that game.
Oh my God.
What?
Yeah. No, I'm not disagreeing. That brings back memories. That's all.
Yeah, that was my two biggest, like, my two strongest suits, and I got to do it in the same game.
I mean,
for those of you that want to play it, it was just that you had to crack a beer when the race started, and then the beer had to be finished by the time the race ended. And the best way, what do you mean, but?
But what's the rule?
Oh, every time that you drink, you have to put your controller down. You can't drive.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, that was the big part of it. Yeah, you couldn't drink and drive. It was called Drink and Drive Mario Kart, but you couldn't actually drink and drive. That was the ironic part.
Yeah, and everybody would try to nurse the beer through the thing, and it's like, no. It's like you just got to crack it, chug it at the start, and then just fucking take off. Because then you would have the best shot at getting, like, stars and shit.
You turned me on to that strategy real quick when we started playing it like that, because I remember I tried to do it where, like, I would try and get to the finish line as fast as possible and then just sit in front of the finish line and chug my beer. And it's like, no, dude, just start off drinking and then you don't have to worry about it and just smoke everybody. And I'm like, that's a really good idea.
Yeah, no, it worked a lot. And then it's like crazy too, because that was like the pregame game. It's like, oh, let's go to Mike's room and go play Drink and Drive Mario Kart. And then it's like, oh, you're gonna get fucked up. And it's like, nah, I don't think so. And it's like, yeah, man, you're chugging a beer every, what are the races, 4 minutes long?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, you play like 5 games and you're like, what the hell is going on? Like, yeah, dude, it's intense.
See, at least that's a good memory with drinking in college with Drink and Drive Mario Kart.
Except I think I had like 4 or 5 dudes puke like in my room probably.
Glad to say I was not one of them. I don't think.
No,
No.
I don't think that you puked in my room. No, but there was constantly some of them like, oh yeah, I'll play. I could keep going. And I'm like, dude, you should take a rest. Like this is a lot. And they're like, no, I'm good. And all of a sudden they like start looking for a trash can. I'm like, oh shit.
Dick of the week.
Yeah. Thanks, Dad. Thanks, Dad, for coining that one. The dick of the week. That was funny too. We would be walking around in like high school and like, "Oh, you guys want to play Dick of the Week on Friday?" And we were trying to figure out who we were going to invite because some guys wanted to come back, other ones were like, "This sucks. I don't want to come back. I'm not going to come here and just get abused for a couple hours."
That's hilarious. I know my buddies, like my neighborhood buddies and I, we used to play Sonic all the time. And then we had that you could do couch co-op with the Dreamcast one. Actually, you could play 2-player actually with a couple of them from Sonic 2 on Genesis on. But yeah, no, we never had Dick of the Week in my household. I know that because usually it was just fuck around, find out with playing Sonic or whatever, Madden or whatever. I remember that was a big one. Was like Madden on PS2 was one that we got really competitive for when they introduced the hit stick and all that. That was good times.
We should bring that back. Me and you, Tom, should try to find someone to play kart with. Like
just Dick of the Week.
Fourth wheel at a time and just be like, oh, who's gonna be Dick of the Week? And we'll just get someone in and just like abuse him for a while.
What's funny actually is like I went to my my cousin's wedding. Was it last week? Last week or the week before? I forget now. And that was something that actually got brought up during one of the speeches. Was how
was Dick of the Week?
No, not Dick of the Week.
I was like, I don't think I know your cousin. I don't think he came to my house.
No. She was getting married, and it was Mario Kart got brought up because they had the N64 when we were growing up, and every time we went over their house for Christmas, that's when we would play N64. We'd play Mario. And it was funny because we were like debating because I was obviously at the cousins table with like all my other cousins in the family. And we were chatting about like who played and who was what character. And everybody just looked at me and was like, yeah, you were the fat dinosaur. I'm like, Bowser. His name's Bowser, goddammit. Like, yes, and he is a fat dinosaur. And I love playing as him. And if I didn't play as Bowser, I was Donkey Kong. So like, get over it. And I remember they used to hate that because I loved the big assholes that would just push everybody off the cliff when I could drive into them with that. And they want to bring that back now. That's the funny part is they were like, oh, for next Christmas, we got to get a hold of like an N64 and see if we can play that again. Which I think on my Switch, I think I'm able to pull up Mario Kart with the thing, so I should be able to do that.
I don't know if it's in that like preset thing of games, but yeah, they used to like make rules that like you can't be Yoshi, you can't be this one, you can't do this one, or Tom would say Yoshi. But yeah, I was like, dude, give me anybody, like I'll fucking smoke. And surprisingly, now that I'm remembering that, Super Smash Brothers for GameCube, I was really good at too. I forgot about that one. Sheik, I was Sheik, and I just used to fuck people's days up. I tried to get into like tournaments by me. I couldn't find them.
Really? I'm pretty sure they still do those for like a ton of money. Like Smash Bro contests. They do. I know that's a whole nother thing that we could go down another rabbit hole about like esports apparently is like a thing now, which is mind blowing to me that they're calling it sports. Like let's pump the brakes on electronic sports. That's not a thing. Let's just call it what it is. It's nerds sitting around playing fake shit, and no part of it is sports. I don't know.
Yeah, that's weird. That's like saying that like watching porn is like electronic relationships. Like, no, I don't think so. Not quite. Like I'm dating these people in a relationship. Oh, you're in a relationship? Yeah.
Do they know you? No. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Cool. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's ridiculous. Yeah. No, like I said, that whole. And the funny part is like too is like that there's like scholarships for like that shit now too. And it's just like that's the funny part is like I always tell Ashley, she's like, stop playing video games, you're wasting time. I'm like, I could be making money right now, so I don't want to hear it. And she's like, man. She's like, yeah, but are you? And then I turn around and I go, how much TikTok do you watch? And she's like, a lot. And I'm like, do you make any money off of it? And she's like, point taken. I'm gonna leave you alone now.
Nice. Checkmate.
Bing bam boom. Got it.
Well, once we start streaming Baldur's Gate, we'll make some money. Maybe we'll start making money on this podcast. We have to have people get used to taking breaks. Like, hey, here's a commercial break.
Sponsored by
Is your dick broken? Is your dick broke? Then you better go fix it. Get Tony's Fix-A-Dick. Take these pills. I don't know, dude. That's my algorithm keeps giving me dick pills.
What? Why? What are you looking up?
I don't know. I feel like it just knows my age and it sees that I'm alone, like that I don't like I'm not married. So they're like, oh, this guy's probably got boner issues, and it's like great. I don't know. It's that and like hair shit.
I mean, maybe your phone's listening when we had the conversation about like Wienervilles and Glizzies and all that shit last time, and it's like, hey, you know what you could use? Some of this stuff.
I don't know. I think it's just when I used to make fun of some of my friends in college I used to tell them that they had to take Cialis. So I think it's just coming full circle to come get me now.
Karma's just slapping the shit out of you.
Yeah, it's a cosmic debt I have to pay, and I'm just taking it on the chin. Just 75 messages about dick pills from every single thing I watch.
I don't envy you on that one. Oh, by the way, I did not think of another trophy that would be good to win other than the hot dog eating contest. I'm just sticking with that. I'm sticking with my guns.
Okay.
We talked about it last time. Remember, you said I got to think of a different trophy, and I was like, you know what?
I didn't say you had to think of a different one. You said
I wanted to, because I was like, oh, like gun to my head, like I was like, yeah, Lombardi would be cool, but that would be like an expectation. But it's just like, how many people could truly say like that is an exclusive club? Like lots of guys can say that they won the Stanley Cup or the Lombardi Trophy or whatever. Like there's a lot of dudes that are like, yeah, I was a part of that. You win the hot dog eating contest, and like that is a premier select group of people that have won that.
That's interesting. I wonder how many people actually have won it now, because I mean, it's been split between two guys for what, like
Kobayashi and Joey Chestnut.
Yeah, over 2 decades. So I mean,
yeah, they banned Kobayashi.
Huh, that's interesting. I do wonder how many people actually have that record.
Right. Like everybody can say, like, yeah, you know, won an Olympic medal. It's like, yeah, a lot of people have won Olympic. I mean, not a lot. Collectively, you think about how many people have actually won Olympic medals, but like the hot dog eating contest, not many, and you only have 1 day a year to do it.
Interesting. No, that's a good point. I didn't really think about that. Unless there's like, I don't know if it's like how long it's been running for. But if there's just like 75 people that have won, because every year just a new guy showed up and they didn't know about it. So
I mean, there probably was from like before the internet era or like TV, because I think like ESPN or somebody like broadcasts it now on like July 4th. But maybe that'll be my homework before our next podcast. I'll look into that and I'll see what the history of the hot dog eating. We'll do a whole podcast about the hot dog eating contest. I'll break it down for you.
Yeah, you wanna go against each other? We'll set up like 10, and then we'll just vomit after 3.
No. Hey, what'd you do today? Oh, I shoved a bunch of wieners down my gullet and threw them up. It was awful.
Yeah.
How was your weekend? I watched Netflix and chilled. Okay, cool.
Do it for the gram. Yeah, see, dude, we are not agents of chaos at all anymore. Not even close. You're like, do you want to eat 3 hot dogs? And you're like, fuck no. I got to work this week. I can't be eating 3 hot dogs.
Oh my god, that's the worst. Hogan, what's wrong with you? I had 3 hot dogs and I want to die. Oh my god, we have problems, but not too many problems. Again, like I said, the video game discussion we can always come back to. It was fun yapping about the old days and what's wrong with gaming now and stuff, and I'm sure we'll have plenty of listeners out there that'll be screaming at you just like I was about not having Zelda. But you're gonna have to give us updates when you actually play it. That's a big thing.
Am I allowed to like Google shit?
No. I have
to just try. So that oh my god.
Yeah, you're gonna get me. You're gonna get real mad. Wait till you get to the water temple.
That's what I keep hearing about. Is this fucking water temple?
You're in big trouble. Yep. No Googling.
Come on.
You gotta get the full 90s authentic experience.
Then that means that I just got to go onto eBay and see if I get like a Game Shark then, and see if that'll help. No. Loopholes, baby. Yeah.
No Game Shark. All right, everybody out there listening, go buy Game Shark off eBay so Mike can't get one.
Imagine that.
Loopholes. Yeah. I just buy them all up and be like, yeah. Oh, you mean these Game Sharks? I got like a pile of 14,000 of them in my house. Useless completely for everybody else besides Mike.
No, that's a 50 cent level of petty that I respect. I would respect the shit
I'd
out
probably
of that.
do it. I got to find out what your eBay the username is so I can just beat your ass in auction sites on there and just be like, oh shit, he bid on this one again. Let me outbid him by 10 cents. Oh man. All right, buddy. You got anything for before we wrap this baby up, or what do you got?
No, not really. I just
Oh, okay.
it was just interesting to see what your gaming experience was like. Got a little soapboxy with money and stuff, but no, it was good.
I mean, that's my general. Like I said, I could talk about it for a while. It's the opinions I have on it just vary vastly, and of course, my whole streaming experience and everything else, it soured me a little bit, and I do get a little upset thinking like again, they just raised the prices of the PS5 by a shit ton of money. Not like a little.
Yeah, let's start playing some old couch co-ops and just go around crushing shit, just like how we beat the shit out of
Donkey Kong.
There's just the two of us.
Oh, it takes two.
The divorced parents.
Yeah, we killed that elephant. That was horrible.
That was horrible.
I blame you for that one.
Spoiler alert: we ripped the fucking elephant to pieces.
Yeah, our daughter.
So that way we could get our daughter
toy.
to cry. So that way we could hurry up with getting divorced.
Oh my god. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we are gonna wrap it up because now we gotta go talk this shit out.
Oh shit.
Oh shit. All right, buddy. I will talk to you soon.
It was good talking to you.
Later.
Peace.